an early bird, and I'm a night owl. So I'm wise, and I have worms.
What are you talking about? You look totally cool, like a real chick.
I look like the Korean Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly was cool.
May he rest in peace, but Buddy Holly was not an attractive man.
I'm not a garbage man! I'm a muffin man!
It's the Al Travis Show. We're very lucky to be having all our guests on today on a special day across the state of Minnesota. Suicide Prevention on the Air Day. We're supporting save.org. Go there, hit the donate button, give till it hurts just a little bit, because no matter what we get raised today, we raise today, it will be doubled. And according to Eric Mischie, the guy running Save, he said there is no limit. Let's go get it. Eric, thank you again for hanging on the program with us. You okay with introducing our guests we have on for the next half hour?
Absolutely. Thrilled to have Representative Rick Hansen, Senator Scott Dibble, who two legislative champions on a number of issues, including issues that SAVE worked with directly, and maybe kick it off and introduce MJ Weiss Blair, who is not only a SAVE board member, but also was instrumental in leading this effort. So MJ, with that, maybe introduce yourself and tell folks a little bit about you.
Yes. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is MJ Weiss Blair, and I lost my daughter, Kayla, to death by suicide November 9th, 2023. I founded Kayla's Hope because I refused to let my daughter's death be in vain. In the aftermath of that loss, I know I had two choices. I could either be consumed by grief or turn that grief into action, and I chose action. I connected with SAVE and formed Kayla's Hope standing for helping others, protecting everyone. And that's exactly what we're doing. I learned after losing Kayla that countless families have lost loved ones to suicide at this location. I founded this organization to honor her life, to raise suicide awareness, and to help make sure other parents did not endure what I did. Thanks to tireless advocacy by SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, family, community, the University of Minnesota, and legislative support, our Minnesota legislators approved $8 million to build permanent suicide prevention barriers on the Washington Avenue Bridge. I see this not as just a victory, but a promise that will protect life. And promise that Kayla's Hope legacy will be one of hope and not despair. Kayla's Hope is my way of saying, we see you, we hear you, and we will fight for you. Because every life matters, and because love, even in the face of tragedy, can build something powerful enough to save others.
MJ, if you will, God bless you and your family. Prayers from all of us at the show to you. For folks who don't know, because we don't talk about it enough, that bridge which you're talking about at the university, this isn't a one-off. That many folks, and I would not have any idea what the number of people who have done this, and you took what could be just a personal tragedy, stood up, and you made a difference. So to that, I thank you for this. And if Eric does his job, which I think he will, and these gentlemen we have on, you're going to make this long-lasting. This won't be the only bridge. The next one we build, we'll be smarter about it. I think you're going to make a huge difference, and I thank you for that from my heart to yours. I God bless you. Is that fair?
Thank you.
Eric, you have a young lady like this show up in your office and say, here's the tragedy that had unfolded in my life. We can't let this just be a tragedy. What do you do? Well, when you met MJ?
Yeah, so what I do is I go talk to people like Senator Scott Dibble and Representative Rick Hansen, who at the end of the day, that's how these things get taken care of. And I think, Senator Dibble, you had a connection to this through Senator Kerry Dietzick, and you're also the chair of the Senate Transportation Committee. I think it'd be great for folks to understand kind of how you got involved in this, why this is something that you've been championing for a long time in your role, and I think share a little bit about how this ended up on your desk, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Eric. I chair the Transportation Committee, so that had something to do with both why folks were interested in engaging me on this, but also, of course, the Washington Avenue Bridge connecting the East and the West Bank is in Senator Dietzig's, may her name be of blessed memories, district. There was no one more persuasive and more, stronger advocate for improving people's lives and for her constituents than Senator Carrie Dietzig. She was a force, and she cared deeply, and she worked on this. And of course, she moved on to her heavenly reward, a short time ago, and it was absolutely, certain that we had to carry on with, in her absence, and carry on that legacy of hers. This is, I just have to, hand it to MJ and the power of SAVE and grassroots organizing and bringing problems to the attention of legislators, problems that have solutions that are identified, and really just building the case for change, both in policy and resources. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it took a while, which was frustrating. That's just the nature of legislation.
Can I ask why, Senator? Can I interrupt you, Senator? Can I ask why something like this would take so long? I get it. It's probably about the money, right? Oh, if we start doing this, it's going to be the money. When it comes to transportation, we got the little rumble strippies on the side of the road now. We never used to have ones at every 30 feet before you get to a stop sign, all to help us do better and be safer. This, especially this bridge, it just seems like almost a no-brainer.
I don't have a good answer because it's frustrating to me. I mean, I've been, doing this work for many, many years.
Yeah.
And, I can't tell you how many times a really good idea, no brainer, not hard to do, not expensive, just takes a while.
Okay.
I think it's just, inertia, status quo, the prevailing, dynamic of a situation. It's easier to say, it's just easier to, to say no. Change is hard. The various stakeholders who felt like, their ox was being gored. In other words, their money was going to be used, and they didn't want to part with a nickel. These are major entities that, jealously guard every cent, and think it's theirs, forgetting that it's the public's money and it's in the public's interest. It's just, it's frustrating. And so, that's kind of an instructive tale to anyone who's listening. If you've got a good idea, bring it to your elected representative, whether that's at the city level, the county level, the state level, the federal level. Engage in that conversation, develop a relationship with that person, tell your story, have others tell their stories, and stay at it.
Fair enough.
Build the case for change over
If
time.
we could, I'd like to get Representative Rick Hansen in on this before we go to break as well. Representative, how did you get involved, and why did you choose to be a part of the SAVE movement?
Well, MJ is a constituent, and I believe in constituent work. I generally am dealing with either environment or agricultural items. I'm on a bonding bus right now looking at capital projects. So kind of the same theme. But we started in 2024 and we came close in the bonding committee, a capital committee, but it didn't happen. And if you think about, Scott is very diplomatic. There are always barriers thrown up because somebody will say, this is a great idea. Somebody else needs to pay for it. And so nearly 60 years went by with an average. I think there was testimony that perhaps 5 people a year lost their life on this bridge. When you think about that, there's always a reason not to do things. And I would echo Scott that we have to keep focusing on people, and people working together to organize, because the people who are paid to stop things, and I will put the names out there, Hennepin County just was not cooperative at all. We passed this through the first House committee unanimously, and then the machinery started to stop it. And because of persistence, both got to take a punch and have to take a few punches to do the right thing. And it's because of MJ's work and Save's work and Eric's work, and everybody's work working together to get this done.
Well, thank you very much for doing that. I really do appreciate it. I'm a little in awe if that number is correct. 5 people a year. If you took any intersection anywhere in Minnesota where 5 people a year were getting into accidents, not necessarily dying, got into accidents, we'd be stopped. We'd put a stoplight in. We'd put a stop sign in. We'd put a guard there, police. We wouldn't let that happen. That's amazing to me. We got to go to break. I'm sorry if I get a little riled up. That number's amazing to me. We'll talk with all these folks again. Eric, Representative Hansen, MJ, Scott Dibble, Senator Dibble, all right after this on the Al Travis Show.
September is Suicide Prevention Month, a time to raise awareness, support survivors, and save lives. Here in Minnesota.
2 minutes, you're still on Zoom, just to keep everybody, keep your P's and Q's.
Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, providing education, advocacy, and programs of hope. And on that day, your gift will go twice as far because every donation will be matched dollar for dollar. Visit save.org to see our work, learn how you can help, and donate. Remember September 24th because every voice can save a life.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
And today is Suicide Prevention on the Air Day. We know of at least 55 radio stations that are helping us get the word out. Tries to raise some money for Save. Save.org. Go there, hit the donate button today. Everything you give will be doubled. This is probably for Eric and MJ to start. MJ, you got the bill passed to put those barriers up. You and Eric have to be very proud. But I can't imagine it stops there for you. You're not just going to say, okay, Kayla's hope is done. We did what we wanted to do. What's next for you, MJ, and your organization?
What's next is I did form a coalition with another mom from the Nashville, Tennessee area who lost her son on the Natchez Trace Bridge. And after learning about her advocacy out in Nashville, Tennessee, Eric and I connected with her, formed a coalition, and we are moving this forward, taking it to Washington, D.C., and we're going to hopefully get some more action and promotion towards the Barriers to Suicide Act. Eric?
Yeah,
Eric,
is right. And, yeah, I mean, and you know, again, you're right, Al. This isn't kind of a one-off. I mean, we know that there are tall public structures in Minnesota and across the country, and in railroad intersections, things like that. Public infrastructure is an area where we can make significant impact on continuing to raise awareness on this. I will tell you, Senator Dibble, there's another structure in Minnesota where they did a construction project and they lowered the railings and now they're going back and raising the railings. Those are the kind of things that we need to be looking at beforehand, rather than after the fact. And I think, advocating for this at a state and national level is really important. We know these are one, just even on pedestrian safety, right? So put aside suicide itself, the issue of enhanced pedestrian safety on public structures, something that at this point in day and age, we ought to just simply be doing at the beginning of a project rather than coming back and trying to retrofit things.
Senator Dibble, if I can ask you, when something of this comes up and you get it as involved as you do, and you see, I think it's just not that expensive and it could save a lot of lives. Is this something then you look at everything that comes your way now? Does this put a different look at it for you that you can say now as every bill comes, wow, we can get on the front end of this, like Eric's saying, and say, wow, if we just raise that by 3 feet, I don't know what, that's going to make a difference. Is that how you'll start looking at things now? Which again, another thing MJ might have got rolling?
Oh, absolutely. That is an excellent question, Al. I mean, what we're looking at as policymakers is giving the direction and the tools to our public service providers, our state agencies, so that the ability to through policy, more proactively engage in solutions to these kinds of problems rather than, we don't run the agencies. We can't chase every single construction project around to make sure they're doing the right thing. And frankly, it's, a waste of time and it's extremely vexing, very maddening to do that. The bridge that Eric is talking about is the Mendota Bridge. That's, like 100 feet up in the air over the Minnesota and Mississippi River Valley. You're going to hit pretty hard if you go over that.
Yeah.
What they did was lowered the railing so that you can't even ride a bike on the bicycle facility alongside the roadway.
Really?
Because if you have a stiff breeze come along, you're going over the edge because you're sitting on your bike up atop above the railing. And that's a rebuild, so that tells me that there's not a systematic, programmatic, policy-oriented look at how we design these things so that they work for the people, the taxpayers, the folks to whom these bridges actually belong. That bridge doesn't belong to MnDOT, though they think it does. It belongs to us, and that's our money.
Thank you, Senator. Just to wrap this up, Representative Hansen, how will this change the way you look at things going forward? You're MJ's representative. It's just not that area. You work for all of us here in Minnesota. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm on this bus, and we're looking at projects, and we look at a number of projects that are nice to have, and we're seeing requests for 10 and 20 million for this or that. And then in the back of my mind now, always, it's what could we do that could have some immediate impact? The district I represent is near the High Bridge that goes into St. Paul. When we had problems with suicide there, those barriers went up fast. So it's not only the money, but it's the speed. Prevention is better. I mean, get these done. And this is a choice we need to make when we're on these committees, is how to protect people rather than the things they're not to have.
Fair enough. We have run out of time. Eric, I'm sure you're with me in thanking both Representative and Senator Dibble for coming on the program. And MJ, thank you so much for sharing that story. What can we say to the folks, Eric, to get them to donate a little bit?
Before we do that, I want to just end by saying Representative Hansen, Senator Dibble, and MJ remind us time and time again, it just takes one person to raise their voice, to get involved, to go to your elected officials and say, here's a problem, we can do something to fix it. I will say that is an endorsement by each of these three individuals. One person can make a difference. And so if you want to help support those kind of efforts, make sure you reach out to your elected officials, get involved. You want to learn more about our work and you want to help support us today, go to save.org. Everything you're donating gets doubled, but more importantly than that, bring your voice to the problems that you see in your community. Reach out to those folks that can make a difference, like Senator Dibble and Representative Hansen. be like MJ. Go make a difference.
And it actually shows that if you get the right representative, the right senator, they will go out of their way and make things happen. I love that. Appreciate it. We got to go. I'm sorry. Thank you all for being on the program. More right after